we might be inching closer to armed conflict with North Korea. And Pope Francis is going to go to Egypt to meet with the head of the Coptic Church. There could be violence with that. But what if the truth about Islam and the threat that it might pose to Pope Francis was being silenced by Google? I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the program, friend. I'm Randall Terry. During World War II, the United States went out of its way to train Navajo Indians how to use radio gear and asked the Navajos to create a system of communication that was uncrackable by the Japanese. Communication of truth, troop movement, our troops, enemy troops, plans. Communication was so central that they actually kept somebody with the Navajo Indian throughout the time that they served in the Pacific Rim to first defend him and then, listen, to kill him. The instruction of the American soldier that was with the Navajo communication, the radio operator, was to kill the Navajo if there was any chance of him being captured. Why? Because it was so critical to keep the ability to communicate out of the hands of the enemy. When the Allies cracked the code of the Germans, if you ever saw that movie with Benedict Cumberbatch, I don't remember the name of the movie, but it was a true story of how the British actually cracked the code, and they saw a ship that was about to be attacked, and there was a member of Parliament's son on the ship, somebody internal to the MI6, if my memory is correct, and they said, "We're sorry, we have to let your son die. Because if we turn that ship around, the Germans will know that we've cracked the code and they'll change the password, and then we're never going to be able to monitor them." Transmission of facts. Now think about it. The Pope is on his way to Egypt right now. We're hearing about it. We're reading about it. Kim Jong-un, the dictator of North Korea, threatening to blow up an American aircraft carrier, threatening to kill American soldiers, threatening to nuke the United States. They're trying to build a submarine. All of this is information, okay? All of this is data. We can sift through weeds, lies. We can sift through the truth and sort of truth. We can look at editorial positions. We can look at hard facts. We can look at the ethics of our enemies. All of it is information. Okay? Google is literally burning books in cyberspace. They are literally keeping us from information. It's like they're capturing the Navajo Indians and then not letting them communicate with one another, or putting a gun to their head and forcing them to communicate things that are not true. Think with me how desperately damaging, how unthinkably damaging it is when truth is not transmitted. You can't call 911. You can't say, "The British are coming." Communication is so central to all of our human experience. Never mind protection of our borders. Never mind wars, rumors of wars. Communication is central to our experience. And Google, who right now is the largest search engine, they control the flow of more information than anyone in the world. They control more information, the flow of more information than anyone in the history of the world except for God himself and his holy word, okay? That's how dangerous they are. And if they were servants of righteousness, if they were servants of justice, then perhaps one would not be quite so alarmed. But the truth of the matter is they are servants of evil. They are servants of evil, and they have aligned themselves with intrinsic evils and movements, groups that are liars, thieves, some of them like the Islamic think tanks are existential threats to Christianity. I've got to take a break. When I come back from this break, I'm going to, again, discuss, but I'm going to show you. I'm actually going to take clips and we're going to focus on the Google training manual. You say, oh, Randall, we've heard about this. I don't think you've grasped. If your attitude is dismissive, then you have not grasped the danger that this puts us in. It would be as if Benedict Arnold got through to the British with how they could take West Point. Don't go away. Have Muslim terrorists hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam? Or is there more to the story? The answer lies in the life of one man, Muhammad, the founder of Islam. Muslim terrorists see themselves inside a 1,400-year-old story, a narrative that focuses on specific events in the life of Muhammad. We are going to look at Muhammad's life using their most sacred literature. We will look at Muhammad at the Battle of Badr. We'll see him deal with those who mock him. We'll see the times when he used deception. We'll witness Muhammad's anti-Semitism. And yes, we will discuss Muhammad and his teachings concerning sex, slavery, and jihad. Friend, if you want to understand Islamic terrorism, get this series today. Google is limiting information and also helping to promote a false narrative. Now, I'm going to explain to you using Google's training book. Again, I want you to understand what I'm about to show you comes right from Google's training manual. Associated Press reported that they hired 10,000 raters. So you watch this with me and you'll understand the threat that we are facing. Thinking with me how critical communications is. What you're communicating. Is truth being communicated? Are lies being communicated? So look at this. Look at the first column. This image that you're seeing is from Google. Now focus on the first column. This is them using an illustration. Somebody puts in the query or in the search engine the word Islam. Now that person is from Lexington, Kentucky, and the intent, they say, of the user is to find information about the religion of Islam. Now that's what's called a keyword, okay? They're putting a keyword in the search bar or a query in the search bar. That's up at the top. Now look at the second column. This is an illustration. This is a real website. We've covered this woman before on our show, Jan Morgan, okay? So this is the site that Google chose for their illustration. Jan Morgan Media. She's a Christian woman, and she wrote about the threats that she got from Muslims, and she's discussing verses in the Quran that call for violence. Now, go to the third column. That's a slider that is a live slider that the employee of Google, the rater, uses. And they can slide it to the left or to the right. All the way to the right, fully met the intent of the person looking for the information. Or highly met, HM, or moderately met, low met, and then fails to meet. Fails to meet. So they have told their staff, using this illustration, they've told their staff to flag this as fails to meet the intent of the inquirer. So then it disappears from the search engine. So if you really did want to know, is there any threat in Islam? Anyone out there writing about this? You put in the word Islam, Jan Morgan's site no longer comes up. They have choked out communication. It gets worse. Look at the fourth column, okay? Please read it closely. By the way, LP stands for landing page, all right? This is what it says. This is a broad query seeking information about Islam. The LP, the landing page of Jan Morgan Media, was created for the purpose of stating the author's opinion that Islam is not a religion. The author lacks expertise in the topic. The writing has frequent misspellings, typos, and grammar errors. I didn't find many of those, I'll tell you that. And the page seems to exist to promote intolerance or hate. Remember, upsetting or offensive results for queries which are not obviously seeking this type of content should be rated fails to meet. That's what we're dealing with here, people. Fails to meet. So they say that if it's upsetting, if it's offensive, and if it's there to promote intolerance of Islam. Now, does Islam have a history? Does the religion of Islam, as the motivating force for various generals of Muslim armies, does it have a history of completely obliterating Christianity from certain areas of certain countries? It's a yes-no question. Yes. Go to Constantinople, now called Istanbul. Go to the various ruins of churches in Ephesus, in Turkey, okay, or in the region of Galatia. Oh, remember Bible books? The book of Ephesians, Ephesus, the book of Galatians, Galatia. Paul was writing to Christians, the cradle of Christianity. It's all been obliterated by Islam. But if you put up a website that delineates the threat that Islam is based upon that history, Google has instructed its raters to say that this is offensive and upsetting and that it fails to meet the query, and then you disappear. They have strangled the communication of truth. I'll be right back. We have a special offer for those of you that can give a $50 gift to Voice of Resistance, the Randall Terry Pack. I will give you all 5 of my books that are still in print and my music CD that we cut in Nashville. And here's what else. I'll autograph all of them for you. And if you want me to say to Tom or to Sue so that you can give it as a gift to someone else or keep it in your library as a part of your collection, I'll personalize each one. Just say on the computer who you want it to go to, or tell the person who answers the phone, please have Randall personalize his autograph to these people. I'm going to give a phone number for those of you who don't want to use your computer. Call 304-289-3700. You can get Dragon Slayers, Accessory to Murder, Why Does a Nice Guy Like Me Keep Getting Thrown in Jail, and other books. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700. Friend, I want to thank the Walk TV and all of its affiliates for the privilege of me being on this network. We're followed by Wretched TV and Jay Sekulow later in this hour. You're not going to want to miss them. I'm so thankful because I get to say stuff and it's published. The problem is that there is a growing, exponentially growing number of individuals, especially the young, who don't get their news from television, don't get their commentary from television anymore, or even radio for that matter. They're getting it online. And they're going to a company called Google, and they're putting in keywords in the Google search engine, and Google is suppressing truth. Google is acting like a Nazi propaganda machine, literally cutting off the flow of information. And you think that I'm exaggerating when I say that. I'm really not. I'm a student of World War II. I mean what I'm saying with surgical precision. Look with me at this. This is straight from Google's manual, okay? All right, put it up on the screen. That far left column, again, the query is Islam. Now Google has hired 10,000 people, according to Associated Press, to do nothing but look at websites like mine, okay? My websites used to get a lot of traction concerning What Would Muhammad Do, the new movie series we released. Suddenly the traction is gone. I didn't tell you this after I came back I just took a trip. I spoke to a friend of mine from New York who runs pregnancy centers for women. I've been with him when his phone just constantly rings with women who need help, who are pregnant, okay? Most of the phone calls come from the internet, websites. And he said to me, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, his phone has died. Just died. I said to him, Chris, that's when they started suppressing websites. That's exactly when they did this. So there are people, babies are dying in New York because they're not getting to these Christian pro-life centers. They're instead going to the abortion mills because some Google raider is saying fails to meet, offensive, upsetting, doesn't meet the query. And so now they're not getting the phone calls. Do you understand that life and death is involved in this? That's how demonic what Google is doing. So when I say it's like the Third Reich, I mean it. All right, look at this. Put it up on the screen. So the query is from New York City, New York. That's the user location. The query is on Islam. The user intent to find information about the religion of Islam. Now Google, look in the center column. Focus in on it as tight as you can. This is the top one is Jan Morgan Media. The bottom one is PBS, Public Broadcasting. Top one says, proof that Islam is evil, violent, and intolerant, straight from the Quran, Jan Morgan Media. So she puts in verses from the Quran. All right, this is their words. Okay? And they say to the far right, now look at the top right quadrant, the purpose of this page is to explain the author's belief that Islam is evil. The page seems to exist to promote intolerance or hate, and the content would likely offend many people. The result should receive the upsetting, offensive flag. This site is flagged. The site has also been flagged as fails to meet, and now it just disappears. Sorry, Jan Morgan Media, we don't want you quoting verses from the Quran that are about violence to Christians. We don't want you telling your story how your life was threatened for discussing how women are treated. No, we're gonna label you as the problem. Now look at the one below, PBS's site. Teacher's Guide, Muslims, Teacher Center, Frontline. Islam teaches the importance of both belief and practice. One is insufficient without the other, except for some Sufis. The following 6 beliefs are those that are commonly held by Muslims as laid out in the Quran. Now look at what Google says about this. This is a high quality article on a reputable site with an accurate summary of the major beliefs and practices of Islam. Do not assign the upsetting, offensive flag. Hey Google, hey, it offends me. It upsets me. Because you're promoting lies. You're telling lies and selling them to foolish or ignorant or uneducated people as truth. So I'm upset. I'm offended. Flag it for my sake. Morons. These people are morons, friends. No, that's not true. They're very intelligent and they're very deceitful. I'll be right back. Yes, I'm going to even show you more of what they're doing, who they trust to tell us the truth. This is laughable. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life. Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced. Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. For those of you who are political activists, I have 2 books that are must-reads for you, and you need them in your library. 1, The Book That Made America, How the Bible Formed Our Nation, and 2, Confrontational Politics. I love both of these books. The book by Jerry Newcomb comes highly recommended by Ann Coulter. It gives you the ammunition so that you can say and see for yourself that the Bible was indeed the foundation of this republic. We weren't built to be a secular nation. We were built to be a God-fearing nation on the principles of Christianity as laid out in the scriptures. And confrontational politics, This puts to rest forever the lie that we should be nicer than Jesus when it comes to political activism. If we're going to win, we have to be confrontational. Only $25 for both books. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700. Welcome back to the program, friend. I feel like I just have to cry out. We know passages in the Bible where God puts his hands on people to cry out like a voice in the wilderness. Jeremiah said, I'm weary of holding in the words of the Lord. It's like fire in my bones. I won't shut up. I'm going to keep on yelling. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I don't know how those men felt, but we're in danger. When you suppress truth, when you hide the fact that there is an army coming, okay? One if by land, two if by sea. If they were not able to warn their friends of the danger, their friends would have died. So if the British captured the truth teller, if Google raters captured the truth teller and say, no, you're not telling that truth, it's upsetting, it's offensive to the British. They're our allies, they're our mother country, they're our friends. We're not going to let you say this. Do you see the danger? That's what's happening to us right now. I'm going to read to you from page 44. Promotion of hate or violence. This is from the Google Training Manual. Use the lowest rating for pages created with the sole purpose of promoting hate or violence against a group of people based on criteria included, but not limited to, race, ethnicity, religion, gender, nationality or citizenship, disability, age, sexual orientation, or veteran status. Websites advocating hate or violence can cause real-world harm. I'm going to go back to it. Come back to me for a second. Does the phrase mix and match mean anything to anyone here? You're going to talk about someone's race, all right? That means the color of their skin. You're going to lump that with someone's religion. A race, if I'm Caucasian or Hispanic or African American or Asian, American Indian, that has to do with pigment of skin color, primarily. Sometimes certain other physical features. All right, so that's what we're talking about. But we're all humans. There's only one race, only one human race, only one set of parents, Adam and Eve. Okay? We all come from them. We all have the same Savior. That's the human race. But religion, well, wait a minute. What if the religion is witchcraft? What if it's the religion of Caesar, where they would kill people who didn't burn incense? Those were religions. Are all religions equal? Am I not allowed to say this religion promoted intolerance, hate, death? So if you have a website that says Islam has a history, and Muhammad gave specific instructions about, say, killing apostates. So if you have a website that says Islam teaches to kill apostates, Islam teaches if you convert to Christianity, you must be killed. This is the truth. This is what Islam teaches. Your website is promoting intolerance of a religion, and it's going to get lumped with someone's race, and it's going to be blocked. And look at who they say we should trust. Ready? Reputation research is important for identifying websites which promote hate or violence. The Pew Research Center, the Anti-Defamation League, and the Southern Poverty Law Center. Are you hearing this? Southern Poverty Law Center are some reputable sources that can be used for reputation research. So they want their little raters. They say, look, we know you're ignorant. We know you don't read a lot. We know we've just put you in charge of censoring tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of websites. So here's what we want you to do. If you come upon a guy named Randall Terry, go to the Southern Poverty Law Center. They hate my guts, okay? They have been enemies of mine and then saying that I'm a bad person for decades because of my fight against child killing. So if you put in Randall Terry's Southern Poverty Law Center, they're going to say, oh, Randall's a bad guy. We got to flag this. They're actually telling their uneducated employees to use left-wing enemies of life as their source for who has a good reputation. Friends, we're in danger. I'll talk more about it soon.